What's going on? We back, Goodfella Sports TV, squeezing another video in on this rainy Saturday. At least in Detroit it is. It's your boy CJ Goodfella. And I asked a question on social media last night. Why is it so hard for players to play with LeBron James? I feel like players play better as far as stats with Kobe and Michael Jordan. It seemed like players fit in better, and people say, well, Kobe was mean to this guy, and MJ, Bill Cartwright said he was going to break his legs. I'm not talking about personality. I mean, you got people on an everyday basis that work together to build cars, that work together to get packages, and work together to save lives that don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? Personality-wise, that's not what it's about. I'm talking about statistical. Because if you go back and you look at it, Lamar Odom had career years with Kobe, probably not in the stats, you know, but probably so. Caron Butler had good years with Kobe. Smush Parker had a career year with Kobe until he was never in the league again. Andrew Bynum had good years with Kobe. Shaquille O'Neal had great years with Kobe. Glenn Rice had great years with Kobe at the end of his career. Gasol had great years with Kobe. You know, I can just continue to go on and on. Derek Fisher, yada yada. With Michael, Steve Kerr, John Paxson, Scottie Pippen, obviously. Craig Hodges was solid. That was more towards the tail end of his career. But Dennis Rodman, a lot of guys had great, fit in great with Jordan. When you talk about LeBron James, it seems to be a very, very hard adjustment for players to play with LeBron. You go back to Miami. The first year Miami, Wade averaged 25 points when LeBron got there. Before, he had an injury-riddled season. But every year after that, it was a points decline. You know what I'm saying? And assist decline, you go look at it. It was a points decline and assist decline. Besides 1 year, I think he spiked up again, if I'm not mistaken. And people's excuse is, well, Dwayne Wade was old and this, and I'm not trying to hear that. He didn't play well with LeBron. Sometimes stats don't tell all the stories. They never fit well. If Wade had the ball, LeBron was ineffective. If LeBron had the ball, well, most of the time Wade didn't really have an impact on the game. They never really worked together great. It never was a Scottie Pippen LeBron thing or a Shaq Kobe thing with Dwayne Wade and LeBron. They took turns. You go to Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, a lot of people don't know because he was up in the 6 in Toronto. Toronto was averaging monster numbers, 20 and 10 or something like that. He was averaging monster numbers. He came to Miami, all his numbers dropped. He went from being a premier, or on his way to be a premier dominant big man 4 or 5, to being the guy people pissed on and said we just did the dirty work. He sacrificed his game for rings. And LeBron James, hurt his status to go into the Hall of Fame other than getting them championship rings. You know what I'm saying? You go to Cleveland. Kevin Love, was averaging 22 points a game a couple seasons in Minnesota. Last year, averaged 25 or 22, something, 26, whatever it was, and 14, 15 rebounds. He came to Cleveland. The rebounds and the points dropped significantly. I'm talking about average of 6 points a game. I don't have stats in front of me, but something like that. Rebounds dropped from 12 to 9 most years, or just under 10. Kyrie Irving, the Kyrie Irving is the one guy that you could say, oh, LeBron played well with. Kyrie got his numbers. Kyrie had career years with LeBron James before he got to Boston, of course. But Kyrie didn't like playing with LeBron. He wanted to get out because he didn't want to play with LeBron no more. He wasn't comfortable. He wanted to be able to have the ball and be an actual point guard. And with LeBron James, you can't do that. LeBron is the point forward. If LeBron don't dominate the ball, then LeBron is not effective, especially at the tail end of his career. So the one guy that had the statistics that y'all can point to and say, well, he played well with LeBron. He hated it. He didn't want LeBron to come back. He said, when he whispered to his ear before he came back to Cleveland, said, I might be coming back or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. And Kyrie said, he talked to somebody else, said, we don't need him. We don't need him to come back here. Well, they did need LeBron. I'm not even going to sit there and tell you they didn't need LeBron. I'm not going to be an idiot. Well, Kyrie was on some other crap, all right? Then you look at the Lakers. The thing about the Lakers is, Lonzo is a prototypical point guard, and most people don't even know what that is in today's hoops. He's John Stockton, he's Mark Jackson. He's built in that mode of more of a facilitator, floor general than a scorer. Now today, people think point guards are supposed to score. Not necessarily. They're supposed to pick their spots where they can score. Brandon Ingram was the guy that's supposed to develop, and Kuzma was the guy that's supposed to take a step forward and develop. Mixing and LeBron James made the Lakers top 10 team record-wise in the NBA right now. We all know that. But it stunted their growth. And it could have been the case, and somebody in the comment section may be like, they never probably would have developed into nothing. That is the case. But I think LeBron James has stunted their growth, and they falling behind, and they have to learn to play in the NBA, learn to grow, learn to adjust in the NBA, and meanwhile learning to adjust to LeBron James. And my question is, why is LeBron so hard to play with? And I'm not talking personality-wise, yelling at his teammates. Everybody did that. But he's so ball dominant. And I've been saying this, he's the most ball dominant superstar athlete in the history of the NBA I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Without the ball, LeBron is the most limited guy. People say, well, what can you do without the ball? If you ever watched Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton, you ever watch Scottie Pippen, it's plenty of things you could do without the ball. You move without the ball. Backcourt, back cuts, set picks, pop, roll to the basket. Cut. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Beal gets a lot of his easy buckets, by cutting it. John Wall find him, Without the ball, LeBron James, he's useless. He does nothing else on the offensive side. Well, nothing else, period, at this point in his career. He ain't a lockdown defender. He play lazy defense, and he got the ball all the time. And people would tell me, well, what else a better option did the Cavaliers had last year or 2 years ago than LeBron having the ball? But then when it gets to the fourth quarter and LeBron wants somebody to save his bacon, he passed to Rodney Hood for an open shot, or he passed for Kyle Korver or Kevin Love for an open three, or J.R. Smith, and they don't hit it. They ain't took a shot since the first quarter. They ain't take no shots. They don't get no rhythm. So you can't expect you to have the ball, and then in the fourth quarter, a guy with 2 or 3 shot attempts, or he might have 10 shot attempts, 7 of them might came when LeBron was on the bench to hit the shot. A lot of these dudes in the NBA are rhythm shooters, are groove shooters. Everybody in a catch and shoot type of guy. Kyrie just happened to be the perfect weapon to play with LeBron, because Kyrie was schooled by his pops to be an all-around offensive weapon. He can get it off the bounce. He can create his own shot. He can spot up and shoot. He's a complete weapon. He can cut to the basket if he wants to. He can come off the screen, catch a shoot, and knock it down. He's Weapon X offensively. And then you look at, other players. Bosh he fit because he did the dirty work, but Bosh at his best was a guy with his back between the basket, guy 15 feet, can score, face up, was giving Dwight 20-20 the business. Him and Dwight used to have the battles. He went to Miami and became a stretch 5, a spot up 3-point shooter. He never got an opportunity to show how dominant he was in the post and what he could do from the mid post or from mid range and face up. He never got an opportunity to show that. And when you need the ball to function in the NBA, you never learn to play without the ball because you were so gifted. It's tough. Even John Stockton gave it up to Hornacek and gave it up to Karl Malone. Even he did that. Every great point guard Mark Jackson let Reggie Miller be great. Isaiah Thomas let Joe Dumars do his thing. Let Rodman get it on the break. Let Mark McGuire do his thing. Before Adrian Dantley got traded, he let us do his thing. Magic Johnson, early on, let Jamal Wilkes do his thing. When they beat the Philadelphia 76ers in the early 80s, I think it was, Jamal Wilkes had 40-something points. But everybody just talked about Magic Johnson. But, Magic Johnson was able to operate without the ball. Or he was able to make sure everybody got in the groove and was comfortable in the offense before he got his. Even Kobe and Shaq. Kobe was able to give it to Shaq, catch and shoot. Kobe was able to drive, and him and Shaq was able to dominate the ball and make sure Glenn Rice and that first ship got it. Derek Fisher got his threes. Eventually, Rick Fox got his threes, and everybody else did that thing. But I'm telling you, LeBron James is one of the toughest players to play with NBA. And they won't tell you that on ESPN or Fox because they all media slappies, and they really don't know nothing about basketball. And dudes that do know about basketball, they can't really speak the truth, but just my personal opinion. Love to hear you guys' comments on this. Goodfellas Sports TV. Don't forget me on Facebook, Twitter. Also, you can reach out to the email. You can retweet the videos out, share them. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell icon button when we miss another video. Also, we'll make a donation to the channel. That link's in the description as well. Go check us out and support us, man. We're going to push for 10,000 subs. Help your boy get there. Share the videos everywhere. Y'all know what it is. Goodfella Sports TV. CJ Goodfella, Mr. One Time for the one time we gone.